I'm like really nervous. I'm really nervous. The only thing I want to do right now is just talk about how God's been good to me. From the moment I thought about that I needed the help, from the time that I arrived. And I have been counted out all my life. I have never been told that I was going to succeed at anything. My mindset was locked and loaded on failure from the door. And I had enough time to spend down here in Georgia before I came down here. And I started to go over my life, and I started to see how I wound up where I was at. And I began to look at it from childhood up. And all the things that was told to me, all the things that was in front of me, and I bought into every negativity that came my way. I didn't know that I was supposed to prosper. I didn't know that I can reason with people. I didn't know. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know nothing about doing it. And I asked God one thing. I said, God, look, I'm full of hurt. I'm damaged up. And I'm like, God, I'm up here and I'm all emotional, and every time I turn around, I want to cry. And I'm like, God, what part of the game is this? You know, and I'm looking at, you know, what I want to be besides the negative things that everybody said about me. And I'm like, God, why did I have to, you know, it's with the whys. Why did I have to be the drug addict? Why did I have to be the thief? Why did I have to go to prison? Why do I think the way that I do? You know, and I wasted enough time thinking those thoughts. And so I get up here, and I'm like, God, you gave me everything that I asked for, because I knew I needed help a long time ago. And every time I went to get help, right, I wanted to tell help how to help me. I wanted to run the program, you know, y'all need this and y'all need this to make it function, you know. But I didn't want to do what the other guys did. Like do the work that they were supposed to do. I wanted to clown them, you know. And then I wound up back on the streets, going through the same cycle over and over again. Every time I got a friend, I abused them. Every time I tried to get honest, I threw lies in there because I don't know how to be honest. And I'm like, Lord, you know, like, where did all of this come from? And then when I start to think back, right, and I remember my dad telling me, you know, Dwayne, don't lie. But when the bill collector comes, he said, Dwayne, tell him I ain't here. You know, things like Dwayne, don't steal, but would take me to go steal. I got confused in all of that. Dwayne, you not nothing. You ain't gonna never be. And you know, and I believed that. So whenever I did bad, I got more attention doing bad than good. So and I hear about a lot of psychological stuff, you know, and I'm thinking that it didn't matter, but it really do. You know, I'm a damaged person, and I was scared to say that. I'm real damaged up. You know, sometimes my communication skills ain't good. Machoism come in. My ego get in, because with the next guy, it's like I had something to prove to another guy when I didn't have anything to prove at all. A lot of things is coming to light about me. You know, my thoughts is the biggest thing, and my thinking is not my best friend, because now I got to think about what I'm thinking about, because my thinking is just that crazy. You know, sometimes I think a thought, right, and it could be totally off the wall, but I would totally 100% believe it. I think it's up until the time when I found out that I had arthritis in my body. And I knew I wanted to get help then, but then I had to get all these surgeries, and then when I got this one done, then it kept coming out of the socket, and then I had to get it done again, which was more time sitting around, and I got bored, and you know, the opiates with the medicine. And I'm like, man, I'm never going to get clean. So I asked God, I said, God, I want to go to the country. And this was years ago. God, I want to go to the country. I want to get out of Philadelphia. But Philadelphia has so much going on, right? And it was hard to leave my comfort zone. I asked God, like how long am I going to be like this? You know, will I ever have a family? You know, and be an example to my kids? You know, will I ever feel good with inside my own skin? Because a lot of times I don't even want to be with me. Again, I cry a lot now since I've been up here. And I don't know what that's about neither. They just come. You know, and I be trying to fight it, but they just come. They just keep coming. And I'm like, Lord, I done heard so many messages. I done seen Grandma said God this, and the preacher on the TV says this. And I'm like, God, I need to know you for myself, because I'm tired of listening to what everybody else say. You know, when you going to show up for me? What am I going to do what the other people in the church do? Leave out of the church happy and it's genuine. When am I going to get that? When is it going to be my turn, God? Am I that bad that you don't want me? And since I've been up here, and I felt like, no, Dwayne, you ain't. And I realized that the stuff that I went through, right, was to get me to this point. Because I have never been so happy in my life since I've been up here. I don't know if it's the beginning of a pink cloud, you know, about the pink clouds, everything's wonderful in the beginning, you know, but be here long enough, right? These guys is going to get on your nerves, and I don't want to hear that kind of talk. Amen. You know, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear something that's going to keep me going another day. You know, I don't want to get involved with the politics, and I don't want to, and all that. I did that before, and it didn't work for me. I don't want to get involved with, you know, Johnny get to watch or do something and I don't get to do it. I don't want to get into all of that. You know, just for once in my life, can I do something, stay on the course right, and do what I'm supposed to do? And I'm like, man, I ain't never did what I was supposed to do in my life, so when is this going to start? I have a lot of issues. I mean, a lot of them. And sometimes I spend more time thinking about what I used to do instead of where I'm going. But I thank God because He's showing up for me. He's showing up for me. You know, I don't want to impress Jerry. I don't want to impress y'all. All I want to do is impress God. And it's like, Lord, and I'm liking the relationship. All this is new to me. I'm enjoying every bug, every squirrel, different. I mean, I've seen so many species of birds, right? I think I'm in a zoo.
You are.
I'm seeing, like, you know, we went down to the water yesterday. I seen the gecko on TV. You know, with this thing crawling up the rock. You know, I feel something happening. I can't put a name on it, but I feel something going on in the relationship. I ain't never had no real or talk real with any, you know, with guys because of the machoism. I don't, you know, I want you to think that I'm that dude, but I'm not that dude on the inside, right? I'm like scared as all outdoors, and I don't even know who I am to be who I am. So I'm trying to find out who I am. I want to enjoy that without the mess. And a lot of times I put the mess in the game. And I'm trying not to do that. I don't know what type of job I'm going to get up here that I'm able to do. You know, I can't stand for long periods of time. And I'm looking at all the jobs and I'm like, man, that requires a whole lot of standing up. I don't know what they're going to do with me, but they better find something because I ain't going. You know, I'll ride that tractor around and cut the grass, whatever, you know. But getting me out of here is out of the question. So, I try to find a little levity to keep me cool, but I'm enjoying the biggest thing that I'm enjoying here is talking with the fellas, and I mean this heart-to-heart thing that is going on up here, this bonding thing that's going on, this like, look, brother, let me talk to you, so on, so on. And I've seen the brother pull one brother aside, you know, and talk to him. Not at him, browbeat him, or make him, or he acted like he was superior. I mean, he talked to him. And I said, hey, you mean I ain't got to be a gorilla? You know, I get a little authority and like, look at here, you got to do this. And I'm like, he didn't do that. And I'm like, oh, I'm in the right place because I can't take that tough love stuff. I get gangster. And it comes up because it's in me. And I'm like, God's going to have to change that in me. And then I pushed myself to some limits because I kept looking, for a minute there, I was looking at myself as handicapped. And I'm like, no, let's take that walk down there. Let's see what it's hitting for. So I walked down, I had to crawl up. I had to take the dog with me, but one morning I got up and I took the dog for a walk and I got down that hill and I'm saying, oh, how am I gonna get back up this hill? So I bet that the dog wanted to run and go home. I said, well, okay, and I hugged it, then he pulled me on up the hill. So I call my therapy dog now. You know? So whenever I go for a walk, I take the dog with me because the dog helps. And I feel me getting stronger. I feel me getting stronger. And I really believe in my heart by the time all this is over with, my walking gonna be better. And I'm gonna hold on to that and I'm gonna walk every day. You know, Jerry, thank you for taking the time out with me when I was trying to get in here. It was rough. You talking about don't get high. I'm like, how he think I'm gonna do that?
I was praying for you.
But I made sure I called you because I was just that desperate. You know, and I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted to come up here telling the truth. I don't want to tell no lies. I don't want to glorify my story and what I did because we all did the same thing, just in different places. You know, and I find myself sometimes creeping back into those stories and I catch myself, God, I really don't want to hear it. You know, you did the same thing I did. You know, different city, different state, same thing. You know, but for real, I don't, because sometimes them thoughts get into my head, right? And then when it's quiet time, right, then I'm thinking about that. I remember that girl, I remember that hit, I remember, you know, and I called it fun, but I'm here. So it profit me nothing. So now some common sense is coming in. You know, I don't want to get into, you know, and I'm saying this right because God gave this to me because any other time I would act what I'm saying that I don't want to do. I would just go ahead and act it out. And God is putting it in my heart like, Dwayne, hey, you ain't got to be like that. You know? And I'm trying to learn about who he says that I am. You know, I want to know who I am for real. You know, I know I'm a naturally jovial dude. I like talking and I get along with people, you know. But I want that real Dwayne, whoever he is, I don't know who he is or where God is taking me. But I want to find out who this dude is. You know, I don't want to be no enemies with nobody, you know, and I'm asking God, like, you know, teach me how to be a man. I don't know how to do that. Teach me how to be compassionate. You know, I love my roommate. I do. And I know he has some issues, and I'm like, God, I'll watch out for him. I ain't never watched out for nobody before. Unless I had something in it for me. Because I don't do nothing unless I got something in it for me. Y'all pray for me, man. I'm going to really try to do what I got to do. But I just don't want to play with this. I just don't want to play with it. And I'm glad that the brothers that I'm meeting, right? Because when you do what we do, we know people real quick. Because we got to be real quick of who we dealing with. And it's the same process that happens even up here. I got to find out who and what I'm dealing with. You know, but the negativity, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I know God got something for me and I just want to see what it is. Yeah, thank you for letting me share.